Hi everyone, welcome to our Coffee Club's very first devotional process video. I am so excited about this. Our first devotional is called A Quiet and Gentle Spirit. So we've got the principle that goes with it and then the actual Devo section. The devotional I'm going to put in a traveler's notebook. I'm using one that I already have, but there will be another whole video for you to watch that shows you how I set up my traveler's notebook. We'll discuss the devotional a bit more in depth and how I put it all together in the notebook. But that's another video. So back to this one. So I'm showing you how I put my page together. The focus verse for this devotion is 1 Peter 3, verse 3 to 4. So step 1, clear gesso. I'm spreading some clear gesso across the page. I'm just applying it roughly with the paintbrush, and then I'm going to take one of those little scraper thingies just to smooth out the surface. If you don't have a scraper thingy like I have, you can also use an old credit card. It's just to smooth out the surface of the gesso. I'm going to be cutting out some of the elements from the Printable, and then I'm going to be using my gelatos. There's a really nice sort of grungy background on the Printable that is what kind of inspired me to do this page. So what I've done is I take a baby wipe and I just very lightly dampen the page, then quickly just covering up the focus verse so that I don't get color over that. But with the page already slightly damp, I take my gelatos and I rub them directly onto the paper. Then I take the same baby wipe and very lightly kind of just smudge and blend it out. I don't want a perfectly smooth blend. That's why I'm doing this technique with the baby wipe, because it gives me that slightly rougher, and I use a very gentle touch with it. On the sort of outside edges, if I could call it that, of the paint, I use my little makeup blending brush to get a smoother blend where I want the color to look like it's disappearing. I'm going to heat set my gelatos. Heat setting them just helps make them more, they do dry basically permanent, but heat setting definitely helps and also means that you'd be able to find it easier to write over them. Now what I've done is I've smudged some gelato onto my craft mat, picked it up with a water brush, and I'm just adding some splatters to create that sort of smoky, grungy feel. I will be listing in the description of the video all the colors that I used, so that will be there. But the idea with the layout was I wanted it to look almost like these flowers were like falling from the sky. Now, if you know me, you know the press and seal, but if you haven't seen this technique, the press and seal is basically like a cling wrap where one side is sticky. And if you're doing a composition and you know you've got to move everything to glue it, and then you can't remember where you had it, this is what the press and seal does for me. It means I can keep my composition in one place, add my glue. I've used the Tombow glue, and then I'm just putting it to one side to dry. So what you see me doing there was taking a texture paste, a modeling paste. I'll list the product in the description as well. And a palette knife, and just adding some rough smudges of the white texture paste. I wanted almost to have like a painterly type of feel. And you can see how as you go over the edges of the printable pieces that you've stuck down with the modeling paste, it almost blends it into the page so that the printable becomes a part of the page and not just something that you stuck on top of the page. So that's the idea behind that. And then, of course, more splatters, because splatters just work with everything. I've trimmed off all the little extra bits that hang over the edge. And using my Stabilo All pencil, if you don't have one, a Stabilo All is a pencil that writes, well, like it says, on all things. So it writes over all surfaces. It is water reactive. You get them in very basic colors. A lot of carpenters use them actually, but I love these Stabilo All pencils. So I want to finish the page with some washi and a tabby and some lettering. I use some of the background paper to make my own faux washi, and I use some gelato just to blend the edges of the tab. Now I want to write the word gentle. Well, I'm going to use some alpha stickers, but I didn't have alpha stickers in a color that matched this printable set. I don't know if you ever have that problem where you want to use your alphas, but the colors just don't work. Well, happiness, you can just paint them, you can color over them, so you don't have to stick with the color that your alphas are in. So if you wanted, you could go over your alpha stickers with a felt tip marker, you could go over them with some paint, you could go over them with gel pens. So you'll see I actually go over mine with a mixture of gelato and gel pen. This little trick of putting your alpha stickers on the edge of a ruler first is a great way to kind of get it balanced and make sure that it fits inside the space that you're going to put it. I don't know if you've ever stuck them down and then run out of space, or put them too far to the right or too far to the left, and now they're stuck down and you can't move them. Well, when you put them on the edge of the ruler like this, it just helps you to space them nicely, and then you can sort of gauge where you're going to put them before you actually stick them down. But before I stick them down, I'm just going to recolor them a little. So I'm using a gelato and a small makeup blending brush, and this is just toning down the sort of bright coral orange color that it was, and I'm also going to use a white gel pen. So you'll see how it completely changes the look of these alphas. So don't feel that you need to have a set of alphas in a gazillion different colors. You can color your alphas any way you want. So you can see we can sort of check where we want those alphas first before we actually stick them down. Because I really have done that way too many times, where I've stuck them down and realized I've put them in the wrong place or not left enough space. So once they're done, I can use my white gel pen and just go over them some more. So by the time I'm finished, my alphas really match. They look like they were part of the set, even though they started off as a bright sort of coral color. This devotional about gentleness is something that's especially close to my heart. You know, being quite a gentle, soft-spoken person myself, it was difficult at one point for me to accept that people would almost think I was too soft or too gentle, or walk over me, and I wanted to be harder and not let people take advantage. And then I realized that that's not what God intended. That's not what He wanted for me. He loves a gentle spirit. A quiet, gentle spirit is something that is very precious to Him, and we shouldn't lose that. And just the fact of being gentle does not mean that you have to be a pushover. It doesn't mean that you have to be wishy-washy. It just means that your strength is an inner strength, but it doesn't have to be this hard outer shell that we show the world. Hopefully that makes sense, but I will chat more about it when we do our Traveler's Notebook video. But that was the page. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll see you back here soon.